big, but just like when you hear someone else say like, yeah, I just did 40K last month, what'd you do? Like
Yeah.
you're just like scared to say 10K because you're just like, damn, like that's nothing, right? I
Mm.
really think that we limit ourselves based on the people we surround ourselves with.
Mm.
So if you surround yourself with people making less money, you will feel better about yourself and not be as inclined to work harder because you're like, oh, I'm relative to the people around me, I'm doing good, right? But when you put yourself in an environment where people are making more money than you, where people are going to the gym more than you, people are waking up earlier than you, when people are working harder than you, right? And like once again, the main thing is making more money than you. You're like, damn, like you could be making 100K a month, but if you're surrounded by guys making a million a month, you're like, fuck, right? Because the people you're around now, relatively to the normal average citizen, right? Like that's behind me, making 100K a month is incredible. But when you're surrounded with 10 other guys making a million a month, you're like, fuck, dude, I'm nothing. And all you think about is like when you're at the dinner table, you feel like a little kid, right? Relative to all the other people sitting there. And so you'll do whatever you can to try and get up there. And it's also easier to get up there because you now have, these people, their insights, their beliefs, etc. on you. Right? I remember like the first time when I hung out with a guy making like 50K a month, I told him my prices. He goes, "Oh, you should triple them." I was like, "What?" And like he didn't even like bat an eye. Like for him, 1K and 5K is like the same thing, right? And it's just like, how do you so confidently like do that? And then I realized, well, that the reason is because of where he is. I was like, fuck, I got to do that if I want to get to the next level.
Mm.
I think it really changes your paradigm in life when you surround yourself with people just doing so much more than you because you're just like, holy fuck, like these guys just like operate on a different wavelength, like they just built different, if you will. I think it's like the easiest cheat code you could ever do is just put yourself in an environment where everyone makes more money than you. Because then no matter how much you make, you still feel shit. Like if you're making 10K, be in a room with people making 40K. If you're making 40K, be in a room with people making 100K. And you just like will perpetually feel like shit until you get to their level. And then go together, you go find a new group. You just keep going and going and going, keep putting yourself in an environment where you don't feel comfortable. Because like and the reason why this works is fundamentally we as humans, especially like the masculine trait in people, one of the most, I guess, sought after things in just masculine people is status, right? It is to be better than the people around you, right? That is why like everything is always a constant competition. When you go outside, it's like, could I fuck up that guy, right? When you're in the gym, could I fuck up that guy? Can I lift more than him? When I'm in the gym, I'm observing every single person. How much did that guy lift? He did 50, I'll do 55s. He deadlifted 400, I'll deadlift 500, right? Like just constantly like looking at what other people are doing. Fuck, that guy just deadlifted 700. I can't do that. Fuck. You know what I mean? And just like you, like that's literally how we are wired as men specifically, right? Maybe not as much women. They still compete and want to be better, but specifically men is like status, right? Status and respect. And so when you put yourself in an environment where you are the lowest one, you feel shit. Like you feel terrible. You're like, dude, I just feel so bad. You know what I mean? And so, like, even just going back to the dawn of human time, it's why this works so well. And that's like, if you really want to cheat your way to success, put yourself in a room, put yourself in an environment where you make the least amount of money, right? And whether that means spending money to get in a group like that, whether that means like moving out and paying triple your rent, right? That's what I'm going to do in a month. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, but you need to just like do something to put yourself in a place where people look down at you, right? And not like look down at you like, haha, you're nothing, but just like inherently you make less than them, and there's just this superiority complex. They just make more, and you just feel like, fuck, I need to grind my way up there. And it is the easiest way to unlock motivation because no one likes to feel like they're not respected, like they're belittled, etc. Like people like to feel valued and cared about. And so that is why if you're ever working out with your buddies, you'll probably do more weight than if you weren't. Because you want, like, if your buddy does 50, you normally do 45, you're going to do 50, right? Just to make sure you do more. Now, if you work out with a buddy that's really weak, it won't push you that much because you'll just kind of do whatever. Because no matter what weight you lift, you're still going to, easily beat them. Which is why when you can, work out with people that are stronger than you because they'll do more weight than you. And so you'll try and push yourself as much as you possibly can to do as much weight as you can to keep up with him so he doesn't look down and go, wow, you're weak as fuck, right? And this works for all aspects of life, not just working out, not just making money, but literally everything. Like everything you do, like your environment will literally dictate. Because the thing is, your environment dictates your standards, and your standards will dictate, how you perceive how well you're doing and how much motivation you have, right? Like if every single one of your family members, your friends, whatever, make $1,000 a month, right? You making 5K a month, you're like, dude, I'm on top of the world. Everyone around you's like, oh my god, like Stefan, how'd you do that? Like, what the hell? Like, how did you make this much money? Like, you're the one paying for all the dinners. You feel like a G, right? But if you're making 5K a month and everyone around you lives in fucking penthouses, making 100K a month, right, driving Lambos and shit, you're like, fuck, dude, I'm the loser, bro. Right? I'm the loser, and you'll hate feeling that way. Right? We hate feeling that way, but I think the reason why most people don't do the work, which they know they should be doing, is simply because their standards, expectations. Right? Even if you look at some of the guys in this group, even some of the guys you may know, why do some people work harder than others? I think it's like the standards they set for themselves based on the people they hang out with. Right? That's why, like typically speaking, if you have, for example, an older brother that's an entrepreneur, you are more likely to work harder than people who are just like, kind of by themselves and who have shitty friends or even no friends that do nothing, right? Because compared to the other people around them, they're working harder, right? But Leo, you see your brother, you're like, fuck, I'm still not working as hard as him.
But I was just gonna ask, how do I make that feeling like more extreme, if that makes sense? Because I've just been around that for so long that
Put
it's not
yourself
even.
in more places more often. You know when you went and hung out with Jared Curry and all of them?
Yeah.
Did that motivate you the next 2 days after to work even harder and be like, fuck, why? Like, everyone there is talking about how they're scaling their agencies to 100K a month, etc. You're like, guys, I'm trying to sign a client. You know what I mean? Like, you probably didn't
Yeah.
even want to ask questions because you probably felt like so fucking like beginner, even just like asking questions. You probably just kind of like sat there just like listening to people, right?
Love
So
that.
like, you need to put yourself in that sort of situation more often, right? And eventually, if you're like, imagine if you lived with those boys that you're hanging out with that one day, right? It would probably be a whole different story. She'd be like, holy fuck, I cannot be that guy in the house that's still like struggling to do a couple cold calls and signing my first few clients, and like you would just like you would figure it out, right? And you'd figure it out and you'd work harder because you're like, I cannot, you know what I mean? Like, I cannot keep having them ask me, hey, Leo, how much do you make? And me say less than 10K. I will not settle for that. I have to say 10K next time, right? And then push and do 20, 50, etc. That's like literally putting yourself in that sort of environment more often, right? So whether that's going out with your without going out with your brother more, right? Moving in with entrepreneurs for like a month, couple months, a weekend, like just trying to expose yourself to that as much as you can. I know you probably can't go sign a year lease with 7-figure entrepreneurs, but like maybe try and do a weekend with a couple of guys, right? Or trying to go to like a meetup or try to like do things where you're just exposing yourself to higher success levels more often. That will allow you to feel that sense of like, okay, like I need to do what I'm doing now, which is like going to hang out with all my buddies, right? Going to meet with people that make more money than me more often, which is why I'm going to move in with a couple of guys, right? To expose myself to that more often, because when you've locked yourself in a room for so long, eventually you succumb to your own shitty limiting beliefs and your own beliefs, again, your own standards, because it's just you. You know what I mean? And so you just like eventually fall victim to like, oh yeah, I'm doing good, you know? Prime example of someone that's fallen into that is sitting in this call right now in a dark room, right? Relatively to the people around him, he's fucking a king. But if he hopped in a room with people making 100K a month, now all of a sudden he's like, fuck, what have I been doing the last couple months, right?
Yeah,
And it's like, oh fuck, I've just been wasting time. I need to get back to it, right? And then the thing is, usually this goes in cycles. You go hang with all these guys, you have infinite motivation, and then eventually it wears off and you go back down below, and then you need to go meet up with these guys again, right? So that's what I'm saying. The ideal is you live with them, for a year, and then that whole year, it's like as long as you're lowest, you're always motivated, right? And then, but yeah, that is like I've just realized how important it is, right? Not to mention just all the other benefits, like you can just ask questions 24/7, get people's different perspectives, right? Because here's the thing: is most of us know what to do, right? Like we know the right things, we know what we should do, etc. We have so many limiting beliefs, and we have so much emotion attached with our thought process, our decisions. When you ask someone else, one of your buddies, right? They don't have the same emotional attachment level to the problems you're dealing with as you do.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And they don't have the same limiting beliefs as you have because they just look at it from a third perspective, from a bird's eye view, and just look at it objectively as the problem is, as the question is, right? Whereas we have a lot of emotion into it, right? oh, my landing page isn't converting. Well, why? Well, I don't want to change the testimonials because of this, because of that. You ask your buddy, what would you do? Get rid of the fucking testimonials. You're like, okay, right? Because he just looks at it objectively. He doesn't have all the emotion tied with it, right? And so that's why like you can just get so much faster feedback, right? You just ask questions all the time, and you just like, and also the conviction, right? Like more often than not, like as you mean, Welch are just sitting here, like we'll ask each other questions that we know the answer to, right? Like I'll ask him, like I even asked him a question like, "Oh, how do you pitch your service today?" He's like, "Stefan, shut the fuck up. You know how." I was like, "I know, but I just need that conviction, right?" And then he says it, I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I thought too." And it just gives me that belief of like, yes, I'm doing it the right way, even though I already knew that. And like he didn't tell me anything new. He just gave me the conviction and the belief. And actually, after that, I closed the call, which dope, right? But it's just like that belief, that certainty of like, yes, I'm doing the right thing, because you're constantly just getting feedback from people, right? And you're constantly testing and testing and testing. Like, dude, I can't even count how many different headlines, ads, and campaigns I've tested over the last half a week being here, right? From just like constantly asking for this, right? And now I have so much more clarity and perspective on like the things I'm working on. And that's just like a small fraction of all this stuff, right? There's so many other benefits of, your environment, but I really think your environment is the make or break whether you have success or not, right? Like most people that don't have success aren't filled in a house filled with entrepreneurs making 100K a month, right? They're typically in their parents' house with no bills to pay, no rent to pay, right? No expenses, no fire under their ass, no nothing, and they have shitty friends, right? And shitty family members who insert limiting beliefs onto them, etc. That, like, if you look at most people, right, just in the agency space, even in entrepreneurship in general, that do not make it, they almost all fit under that category, right? Most people who live with other friends who are doing the same thing, right, not shit friends, but doing the same thing, right, or live on their own, or have expenses, or have bills, or have liabilities and stuff, typically are more successful than the people who just stay in the comfort of their own home and their own limiting beliefs and their own paradigms, etc. Like you can just look at everyone that and that'll probably stand true.
Yeah. It's so
Right?
strange how you bring this up because recently, especially like very recently, there's just been a lot of opportunities for me to be able
Yeah.
to like do these things.
Yeah.
And look, I'm gonna send this Airbnb thing. In the summer, this is where my brother's gonna be moving.
Yeah.
And he said if I split the rent with him, he'll take me with him and like I can live there too.
Yeah.
And it's in Canada.
That's
Um,
dope. Where in Canada? What city?
I have mm,
W Wi-Fi. It's Edmonton. That's where my favorite hockey team plays. That's actually my favorite hockey team is Edmonton Oilers, but Leo's gone.
Yeah.
The rent
But
there
it's
is so
cool that you bring this up because like we are doing like this statistic project.
I
That's
have
cool.
no idea what happened.
Leo, it's in Edmonton, which is where my favorite hockey team is from. So I will come visit you because that's like a 1 hour flight away. And we'll go
Really?
watch an Oilers game.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh, bro.
So you better go because we will go watch an Oilers game.
But in order to be able to do that, I really, really need to just like lock in because by then I'll be graduated, so I'll have nothing stopping me from going.
Yeah.
So I just need to be at a point where I could do that.
Yeah, well, good. Now you got some fire under your ass, but like have an even bigger fire under your ass and an even bigger like why when you're there, because now you're like, fuck, I'm paying this every month. I'm out here. I'm with
Yeah.
my fucking brother. You're probably gonna meeting up with other people. Fuck, that's only an hour flight away from where I am. Like it's like what, a 12-hour drive, hour flight. That's pretty close to where I'm from. I'll come out there too, right? And there's my buddy lives in Calgary, the city down from there. Maybe we'll meet up. Like there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there as well, right? You'll probably meet up with a lot of other people, etc. You'll just be exposed to like just like a different level of wealth and like how people operate. Like you'll see people literally operate on different wavelengths, and that'll like be like, oh wow, like because as kids we're groomed. We're groomed from the second we get born, right? And not to the fault of our parents because they're just raising us the best way they think possible, but we're groomed and we're trained and we're indoctrinated to believe and think the way they think. Fair enough, right? They're trying to do what's best for what they think is best for us. I don't blame them, right? But a lot of times they've been indoctrinated and groomed as well, right? And we just gotta like it goes way back, but A lot of us have a lot of, we have this one way of thinking, and we've been, for the most part, sheltered, right? A lot of us, for the most part, have lived with our parents, with our family, right? With our kind of like friend group and family group. Like you're sheltered for the most part. Of course, you go to school, and now with the ability of social media, it's getting a lot bigger, which is why I think there's a lot more entrepreneurs now than there ever was. Is simply because social media, can give people different perspectives, et cetera, and allow them to see what's actually happening, what other people are doing in the world, right? Like think of Tate, for example. Like a lot of us are probably still be depressed and whatever if it wasn't for him and all this other, big self-improvement movements, right? And so it allows you to, when you get out of that environment, you don't get sheltered anymore. It allows you to see the world for what it is. And it's like, damn, not everyone thinks this way. Not everyone lives this way. Not everyone does things this way. Like, wow, that's fucking weird. Like you'll see some shit. You're like, wait, what? You're telling me that people actually sit down at a desk for 16 hours a day and work? Or wait, you're telling me that people actually make 40K a month while still scrolling Instagram reels on their phone? Wait, you're telling me people can actually make money without taking cold showers and meditating? Wait, you're telling me I can still make money while, going to the gym and playing games with my friends? Wait, you can tell me, you're telling me that people out there actually make 50K a month from just cold calling? There's just so many different beliefs that that will just get crushed instantly. So like, wow, like I didn't know this is possible because you were never exposed to it. Because right, once again, we've been kind of sheltered. So yeah, dude, you gotta fucking do that. Move out, put yourself in an environment that's just totally foreign, and dude, you will grow more than you ever have in your life. Like you'll probably 10x your income in like 2 months of doing that. Like it always happens to me. And granted, 10x becomes a lot bigger when you make more money. You know what I mean? Relative, but like every time I go out and put myself in that kind of environment, I always make more money the month after. Always, like always, 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 always. Just always make more money. Super cool. So yeah, put yourself in that environment.